Good evening. My name's Carl. I'm an alcoholic. Oh, goodness sakes. I don't know who to thank. I got to thank Michael and Maureen. They're always the ones that first call me. But then you guys have like 2 or 3 other people that call you like 2 weeks in advance, a week in advance, and then 3 days in advance. Anyway, thank you, Hillary. It's a hard act to follow to have to, that Lisa here that needed detox at 8. And then wonders whether she's alcoholic or not. There's really good talk. Thank you very, very much. Oh, goodness sakes. So, the most important thing I can tell you about myself is that I'm an alcoholic. There is nothing that defines who Carl Morris is more than the fact that I'm an alcoholic. I could talk for a couple of hours of other things that I aspire to be, that I want to be, that I've succeeded at. Well, I could talk till breakfast about what I've failed at in life again and again and again. All sorts of things that I think, but there'd be nothing that tells you more about who I am than the fact that I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is January 21st, 1987, and I'm 55 years old, so I have been in Alcoholics Anonymous more than half my life. And whether I'm drunk or sober, the fact that I'm an alcoholic is really what drives my bus in this world. And the thing that makes me alcoholic, that I believe, is that I've got a really bizarre relationship with alcohol. That's what makes me an alcoholic. And this strange relationship that I have with alcohol takes on a few forms. The first part of this strange relationship that I have with alcohol happens when I drink it. A very strange thing happens when I drink booze. The book calls it an allergic reaction. The book says the symptom of this allergic reaction that I get when I drink booze is what they refer to as the phenomenon of craving. And the best way that I can describe this thing that the book calls the phenomenon of craving in my life is that it seems like whenever I drink booze, the more booze I drink, the thirstier I get. Right? That explains Lisa in the garage after taking, and the husband going, ah, right? And her going, what, right? The more I drink, the thirstier I get. It happens with nothing else, just booze. An example of that is they were kind enough to give me this bottle of water. And over the next 40 minutes to 3 hours that I'm talking with you, I will probably drink half this bottle. I don't know. My mouth might get dry, and I might finish this whole bottle of water while I'm talking with you. But I can absolutely guarantee you that once I finish this bottle of water, I am not going to go get a case of water and lock myself in a motel room. There is no chance of that happening. There's no chance that at 3 a.m. I'm going to call up Tanya. Tanya, come on. I need another case. I'll turn the pink slip in my car. Come on. Right? It's not going to happen. And there's no chance of that happening. But if that was the only thing that made me alcoholic, this bizarre physical reaction that I get, this craving, if that was the only thing that made me alcoholic, well then, Just Say No would have wiped out alcoholism, right? Early 80s, Nancy Reagan came out and said, just say no. See, I would have, and I imagine you would have gone, no. And just gone on and lived a happy, successful life just saying no. But I've got this other strange part of my relationship with alcohol. And that happens when I'm not drinking it. You see, of and by myself, if I don't drink for a day, a week, or a month, I seem to have this mind that is able to paint a picture that makes it okay to take another drink no matter what the pain, humiliation, and suffering was a day, a week, or a month ago. And it never enters into the equation whether it was my pain and humiliation or your pain and humiliation. I could care less. But sooner or later, my mind is able to rationalize and justify my walk back to the next drink at all costs. So therefore, I cannot drink successfully because this bizarre physical craving that happens. But at the same time, I cannot not drink successfully. I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. It's the ultimate catch-22 we call alcoholism. Because if I could do either one of those two things, either drink successfully or on my own not drink successfully, I would do that. And now I just lied. Because I have no interest in drinking successfully. I really don't. I mean, that's part of the lie. Oh, we can drink successfully. I have no interest in drinking because that means 2 drinks and stop. That just makes me nervous. In fact, that just freaks me out, 2 drinks and stop. So that's why our book is very polite when it says, there's no such thing as making a normal drink out of an alcoholic. Science may one day accomplish this, but it hasn't done so yet. We're just being polite to the scientific community because there's no way. They're only, take a pill and you can only drink 2 drinks? Why would I be interested in that? That's not what I want. I like to get loaded. See, here's what medical science would have to come up with to even slightly get my attention. If they came up with a pill and said, Carl, if you take this pill, you can drink for 3 days straight. You can snort as much cocaine as you want. Smoke a bunch of that purple Urkel, whatever they got going on at that dispensary these days. And nobody goes to jail. And nobody will go to the hospital. And your mother will still be very proud of you. Now then I would go, oh really? Right? But I've got no interest in having a couple of drinks. Unless I'm having a couple of drinks while you're bringing me another couple drinks. Right? So, therefore, I've only got 2 choices in this world. Either the center of Alcoholics Anonymous or going for it out there. Those are my only 2 choices. There is no other gray area. It's not available to a guy like me. And I assume it's not available to you either because you'd be out there doing it. You wouldn't be here. So anyway, I set this relationship up that I just described to you right from the get-go when I first started drinking. I started drinking very late compared to people like Lisa. I was 11 when I started. I mean, I held out for a while, for God's sake. And I'm just like her. Instantly, I am this loaded kid. By the time I'm 14, my hair is down onto my shoulders, and I am drunk or stoned every single day. And my vocabulary at 14 is, whoa. Wow. Whoa. Right? As my late sponsor, Eddie Cochran, used to say, I'd call my mother man. Hey, man. Right? And of course, my parents would freak out, and they, what are we going to do? But they don't understand I'm alcoholic. They tried all the other things. Change who I hang out with. Get me out of the public school, put me into private school. See, changing people, place, and things in somebody's life like mine to fix my alcoholism is like, all that happens is that when you change the people, place, and things in somebody's life like mine, all that happens is that I'm loaded with different people. In different places, ruining different things. That's all that happens. So by the time I'm 17, we lived in Seattle. By the time I'm 17 there in Seattle, my parents decide to get me out of Seattle. So they sent me 300 miles away to Washington State University. I spent 3 years at that university on my parents' money, and I got almost 10 credits. At any given time, my grade point average matched my blood alcohol content, about a 0.25. By the time I'm 22, this little story I'm about to tell you will let you know exactly where I stood with my family. Now my father was Swedish, my mother is Icelandic, therefore I look like a polar bear. And I don't know whether this custom I'm about to tell you about is Scandinavian or whether it's Lutheran, I don't know. But at Christmas time, my parents wouldn't just send out Christmas cards to their friends and relatives. My parents would send out this big, long Christmas letter that said everything the family had been doing that year. And when I was about 22, I got a hold of one of these letters that had been sent out the previous Christmas, and as I read it, it let me know exactly where I stood with my family. Now, the first paragraph talked about what my parents had been doing that year. Another impressive year, I'm sure. The next paragraph talked about what the Morris children had been doing that year, and that paragraph went something like this. Our oldest daughter, Christina, just graduated from Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, with a master's degree in human resources. She's now working for a large pharmaceutical company in the Midwest. She traveled to Europe this summer. She saw this, she saw that. Her hobbies are this, and this. She's a very happy young woman. We're very proud of her. Our oldest son, Eric, just graduated from Western Washington State University with a degree in marketing. He's now working for a large advertising firm here in downtown Seattle. He loves to golf. He loves to travel. He's engaged to be married to this wonderful woman named Mary Lou, who works for a very small company here in Seattle named Microsoft. It was small at one time. And they love to golf together. They love to travel together. He's a very happy young man. We are very proud of him. Our youngest son, Carl, just turned 22. They were actually being very kind. Because if they would have, my parents are the type of people that have a tendency to tell the truth. And if they would have told the truth about what they knew about my life at that point, they would have had to put this paragraph into that letter. They would have had to have said, "We had forbid Carl from ever coming anywhere near the house. We made the mistake of going on a 2-week vacation. We came home 3 days early. We saw a bunch of strange cars outside the house, and when we opened up the door, there was a lot of strange people in our house. There was this green smoke floating through the house, broken glass everywhere, scales on the kitchen counter, and we saw Carl's naked ass running out the back door." They just didn't want that in the Christmas letter. So, about this same time, a really bad night happened. It would take a long time to describe everything, but a really bad night happened, so I joined the Navy. It was that bad of a night. What I'm about to tell you should concern you if you care anything about the security of the United States. But on my way into the Navy, I passed a potential test. It's called the ASVAB test. And this test that I took qualified me to become a nuclear engineer. That should concern you that the United States Navy would have any type of system in place that would even maybe possibly or even remotely allow somebody like me near anything nuclear. However, they made me take another test when I showed up at that base for boot camp, and I could not pass that particular test. That's called a urinalysis test is what it's called. Never knew how to pass those tests. I'd been in the Navy approximately 2 years, and I was a lower rank than when I first came in. And here's the problem. I knew I was in the Navy. At any given time, look at my surroundings. I realize I'm on a big gray ship. I'm in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. By God, I'm in a uniform. I knew I was in the Navy, no doubt about it. However, that ship would pull into a port, and I would leave that ship and I'd take a drink. And I literally would forget that I'm in the Navy. And there's something else happened to me at this point. I'm 23 years old, I'm 24 years old, I'm 25 years old during this frame of time I'm talking about. And something has happened now to where when I take a drink, I'm triggering off these 2 and 3 day drunks that I used to manage and purposely, be loaded for 2 and 3 days at a time. Now I'm doing it by accident. And now I don't know how to start them or stop them. They are just going. And now I'm not talking about, you know what I mean by, I'm not talking about straight out 3 days. No, I'm talking about I would 3, 4 in the morning, I'd start to die down, and I'd nod off a little bit, and I'd come to, and I'd go, and I'd reach for a drink, and just to even out, and I would take that drink, and it was like throwing gasoline on a fire, and bang, I'm off on a run again. And these things were going days and days back to back, and I had no idea how to, and it was baffling to me. And I got to tell you, now I'm triggering these major blackouts too. And I got to tell you, it's a strange feeling coming out of one of these 3 day drunks in a foreign country on a large pier at 6 a.m. going, there was a destroyer here the other day. I came out another one of those blackouts on a Monday morning, and I was late getting back to the ship. I was already in a lot of trouble, and I was trying to get back to the Navy base. My car was held together by rubber bands like usual, and I've gained this other tool for living. And this is coming out of those. I would always try to save a pint, and I would drink half that pint as I'm trying to get back to the ship. I would keep another half a pint, the rest of the bottle underneath the seat of my car. At noontime, I'd run off the ship and drink the other half a pint as my way of sliding into Tuesday. and to taper off of the drunk. That's what I'm doing this regularly. This particular morning, I'm trying to drive the car and get this half a pint in me. And I remember my eyes were not in good focus, and all of a sudden, at the front of every Navy base, there's a guard shack where a Marine stands duty. Under normal circumstances, you're supposed to slowly and politely pull up to the guard shack. Show him your military ID. He'll check the sticker on your car. If everything's in order, he'll allow you to proceed onto the base. This particular morning, I guess I'm paying more attention to getting that half a pint in me, and all of a sudden, when my eyes came into focus, I saw the Marine had his head out of the guard shack, like... And I'm wondering what he's so excited about. I was kind of shocked. What's he so excited about? Until I looked down, I'm still going 40 miles an hour. Yanked the wheel, tried to swerve. The car hit this median on the right-hand side, and bang! Flipped over and bam! Right through the guard shack. I can still see the Marine doing this big dive out of there. Thank God these guys are in good shape. He did a quick somersault, back up, weapon drawn. He's all excited. The Navy was very angry at me that morning. They're reading new charges on me, and this is nothing. The Marine was all right. They're reading new charges on me, and there's nothing significant about new charges in my life. That's just what happens in a guy's life like mine about every 90 days if you're drinking the way I'm drinking, right? The most significant thing that happened that morning is the Navy doctors prescribed this stuff called Antabuse for me. I heard the groans, yes. I was now under orders to show up at sick bay every single morning before quarters, and the corpsman would put this little white pill on my tongue and make me sit there for a half an hour to make sure it actually ingests in my system. Over the next 7 to 10 days, I started to experience the most cunning, baffling, and powerful side of this thing we call alcoholism, and that is I had no alcohol or drugs in my system, and I was literally going insane. See, what happens to me when you take alcohol away from me and you do not give me the center of Alcoholics Anonymous, something would happen to me that I did not have the vocabulary for. I didn't know how to explain this to psychologists or psychiatrists that I've been sent to by people that love me or care about me, or now people that have authority over me. My parents had sent me to psychiatrists and psychologists. Now the military is sending me to psychiatrists. I don't have the vocabulary to explain this to them when they would ask me, why do you drink that way? If I would have had the vocabulary at any point in my life, I would have said something like this. When somebody that loved me or somebody who had authority over me or some sort of authority figure would be angry at me about my drinking, I would say, yes, I agree. I know it looks bad. I'm not happy the car is on fire either. I'm with you on that. But if you knew how I felt when I wasn't drinking, you wouldn't be asking me why I drink. I didn't understand I was defining alcoholism right there. That my problem, yes, I know the rest of you think everybody that loves me or cares about me or has authority over me thinks that the things that I'm doing while drinking is really the problem. When really I want to scream from a mountaintop, no, the real problem is when you take alcohol away from me. I know it looks like that's it. But it's really what goes on in here when I don't got alcohol. I know the price is getting high. But there's only one thing worse than the price I'm paying for drinking, and that's the way that I feel when I'm not drinking. And I did not have the vocabulary for that. I remember counting those days on that Antabuse, just... It's been 4 days, and I'm on Antabuse. Now it's been 6 days, and I'm on Antabuse. Now it's been 8 days, 6 hours, and 15 minutes, and I'm on Antabuse. And I started to look around that ship. The other men, they're talking behind my back. All 300 of them. Have you ever felt that way in AA? The only difference is that in AA, we are talking behind your back. It's not an illusion. We're really doing it. Only with love and tolerance and Paramount, I'm sure. On the 10th day, I just snapped. I went AWOL from my ship. I locked myself in a little hotel room in downtown San Diego, Plaza Hotel. It's on 4th and Broadway. This would have been right now, May of 1986. Is when they put me on the Antabuse. And May of 1986, the Plaza Hotel cost $13 a night. They have rehabbed that whole downtown area of San Diego back in the early 90s. The Plaza Hotel is still there. It's now $19 a night. Go ahead, check the Yelp reviews. It's interesting. I locked myself in a little hotel room, and I remember sitting on the edge of this bed, and I had a bottle of vodka and a shot glass up on this rickety little end table. And I remember staring at the bottle of vodka and remembered that the Navy doctors had given me a very stern warning about drinking on top of Antabuse when they had prescribed it for me. They had said, son, you need to understand that if you drink on top of this Antabuse, you will get one of two reactions. One reaction is you will get violently ill. The other reaction is you might die. I remember looking at the bottle and I thought, well, wonder which reaction I'm going to get. I took one shot and nothing happened. Authority had lied to me again as far as I was concerned. I waited about 2 minutes just to make sure, and I took another shot. All of a sudden I felt tingly in the face, so I looked in this cracked little mirror that was in this hotel room, and it was bright red, blotchy and purple in places. Took another shot. All of a sudden I could feel my heart going boom, boom, boom. Looked at my shirt, I was drenched in sweat, and all of a sudden I was like hyperventilating. We're doing all right so far. You guys are really sick if you think this is funny. So I took another shot, and up it came. My late sponsor, Eddie Cochran, man died in 1999 with 47 years of sobriety. This December, had he lived, he would be 66 years sober. This man used to call what happened to me next projectile regurgitation. This is a new level of puking I'm unfamiliar with, right? Because we all know normal puking, right? We got a tool for a living. You're out there, and you got a little good buzz on going. All of a sudden, you get that little warning, right? A little sour taste in the back of the throat. Maybe a little bit comes up in the mouth, and you kind of go, And we all know, based upon experience, we have 30 to 60 seconds, right, to find a bathroom if there happens to be one. If we're driving, we've learned, get the window down, for God's sake. Right? When you blow it all over the dashboard, it's really a buzzkill. Right? But we get the warning. But here on the Antabuse, no warning. It's just, sort of this Linda Blair spray across the room. Thank God the Plaza Hotel is the type of hotel room where the toilet is in the same room with the bed. It's a design feature, I believe, maybe to make convicts feel more at home upon release. I'm not really sure. But I found the magic of drinking on top of Antabuse, that if you hang in there, and it's an important feature, you got to hang in there, you cannot half measure this. If you keep drinking with me, if I kept drinking and kept puking and kept drinking and kept puking about an hour to an hour and a half, enough of the Antabuse would kick out of my system and I'd quit throwing up and I'd just be left with red face, hyperventilating, and sweating. And I'm pretty much all right with that. So I drank on top of Antabuse the last 7 months of my drinking. There's no other words to describe this. My second to my last drunk, I was left for dead in a motel parking lot in a pool of blood. The next thing I knew is I came to and I'm on an operating table. When you come to, you start looking around for, am I in my own bed? Do I recognize surroundings? Am I in jail? You're trying to gauge good night or bad night, right? But coming to on an operating table, that equals bad night. Really does. I got to tell you, I was getting close to coming to meet you people at this point, and I got to tell you, one of the things that frustrated me greatly when I got here was the way you guys talked about coming out of blackouts. You guys kept on saying things like, I am so grateful to be sober. I now wake up instead of coming to, and I know who's next to me. Oh, it was just so horrible when I was out there drinking. I would come to and look next to me. Oh, it was horrible. As if you were always the good-looking one. You see, what had been happening to me is I'd be coming to and I'd look next to me and go, whoa, not too bad. They would come to, look at me and go, oh, not Carl, fuck no. There's always two sides of that story. My last night of drinking, I'm being let out of the San Diego jail. I'm being transferred from civilian authorities back to military authorities. There's a big process for that. And this particular morning, there's always like angry people in uniforms. Handcuffs are extra tight. Muscles aren't working well. People are yelling. They're frustrated. And I'm just like... This particular morning, the officer deck, when they tried to bring me to my ship, said wrong answer. Orders have already been processed on this loser. The orders are 90 days in the brig, bad conduct discharge, or treatment. Now, apparently some sort of option was thrown out on the table. I remember just kind of going, And I do not remember thinking, oh, God, you're so good to a bum like me. I can't keep going like this and I get to go to treatment. I don't remember that. Nor do I remember thinking it would have been more likely if I would have thought, hey, if I just act like I want that treatment thing, maybe I can beat this one too. I now know that it would not have mattered what I was thinking or feeling that particular morning because I was in handcuffs. And I don't know about your experience in handcuffs, but my experience in handcuffs throughout my life was always the same. Whoever had me in handcuffs, never once did they ever turn to me and say, so what's your opinion on this matter? Right? When you're in handcuffs, you go where they say. Right? And they took me up to this military treatment center in the north end of San Diego, and when the doors were locked behind me, that's when they took the handcuffs off me. I got to tell you, so I don't know what treatment is. I just know that I'm now in another hospital-type situation. I've been here before, and now there's a bunch of other people, and they seem to be talking different stuff than normal. But I got to tell you, as far as treatment centers go, this military treatment center up at the Miramar Naval Air Station is probably one of the best in the world. Not because of anything they did inside there, not because their medical staff might have been good, or not because anything they talked to us or any of the counseling. No, it's because they were not under the illusion that they had a new cure for alcoholism. They did what anybody medical place would do, is separate you from alcohol, do various types of counseling. But here's the thing that tells me they knew exactly what they were facing. Every single night the vans would pull up, we would be put into those vans, and they would take us to you. And I've talked to the staff of that place over the years, and they said, we put you guys in those vans to send you to Alcoholics Anonymous. We'd pray you would hear something that might save your life, because they knew they can't do it. It's all they can do. It's exactly right. It's true. So every night I was brought to you guys, and I got to tell you, I sat in the back of many meetings. If you go down to San Diego, you still see us. You still see the military. We sit right along the back. And they let us watch you guys. And those meetings in San Diego, at least at that time, and I'm pretty sure still now, they took, when how do I word this? Those people, at least the nights I was there, took their responsibility at this podium of Alcoholics Anonymous seriously. They weren't talking about random other stuff. The people that were up at those podiums, I look back, they understood alcoholism. I could tell that many of them had practiced telling their story. I didn't know this, but you know where people usually go practice telling their story so they can be a more effective AA member? In the mental institutions. It's a great place to practice your story. Because if you can get somebody in the mental institution to go, save that one. Save that line, because if they go, we're going to love it, man. We're going to go, whoa, right? And they were talking about alcoholism in those rooms, and they were flooring me in the back. And there were hundreds of people in a lot of those meetings. And I was just sitting in the back going, oh my God, they know. They know. The magic of Alcoholics Anonymous, level 1 of the magic of Alcoholics Anonymous was happening because I was saying, oh my God, they know. Now, if you would have seen me in the back going, okay, kid, what is it that they know that you think you know? I would go, I don't know. But they know. You have to excuse my cough. I've actually been grounded from airplanes now for a month. I picked up some sort of lung infection, and my doctors made me stay home. They said I can't get on airplanes with all these people with all these germs because my lungs are like responding badly. It's kind of like, I don't know, you ever seen that? I don't know, there's some televangelist out there that says why he has to have a private plane is because he can't get on airplanes with demons. Right? So the doctor said, you can't get on airplanes with other people breathing stuff. So I've been grounded for a while. I'm actually not even supposed to be here tonight, but I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I can't. So anyway, I don't even know why I brought that up. Just because I can feel it coming back and I'm going to be coughing. Isn't it cute? It is. It's nice. Not contagious. I'm not contagious, but my lungs are struggling these days, and I got to take care of it. Anyway, so I get out of that treatment center. The only thing I knew what to do is go to meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. I show up at the 6 o'clock Gong Show meeting in Pacific Beach. It's still there. It's Friday night. And I'm sitting in the back of that meeting, and the truth about my life is I'm 45 days without a drink. I've got a lot of information, and I'm physically feeling better than I have felt since I've been a young teenager. Because military treatment center is a little bit different than normal treatment. They even in detox, they would make us run for 3 miles, 150 push-ups, 150 sit-ups, Marines running alongside you saying, "God damn it, going to become a fighting man again, move it!" And then in the afternoon, they put you in therapy and say, "How do you feel?" So I'm in good shape when I got out of treatment. That's all I got going for me. Information, I'm physically feeling better. But you see, here's the thing that I didn't understand. There had been no spiritual awakening, spiritual experience, or even a personality change sufficient to bring about recovery from alcoholism. It was even more dangerous than that, is I did not know I needed one. I'm sitting in the back of that meeting, and my life was at a turning point. I didn't know it. I can go, "Oh, I'm at a turning point." I can only look back and go, "Oh my God, my life was hanging in the balance that night. Which way is my life going to go?" And one guy that night operating on his primary purpose. I'm sure there are many other men operating on their primary purpose that night, but this guy was lurking around the back. And right before the meeting, he came up to me and said, "Hey, never seen you here before. What are you doing?" I didn't think quick enough to lie to him, because I swear to you, if I would have thought for one more second, I would have lied to him, but I accidentally told him the truth. And I said, "I don't know, buddy. I just got out of a Navy treatment center a couple hours ago. I don't know what I'm doing." This guy's eyes went, bing! Big smile went across his face. At the break of the meeting, he's like fighting his friends. "He's mine, he's mine. My newcomer, mine, mine." I didn't know you mark your newcomers, like he was peeing on me or something. I don't know. God! He literally, mine, mine, mine. Now, I didn't know. Now, there was something else going on in that guy's life that particular Friday night that made him especially glad to meet me. This guy's girlfriend had left him the night before for one of his friends in his home group. So he was wondering what he was going to do with his weekend. Homicide, suicide, get loaded, or grab this newcomer. He's like all over me all weekend. We went to 18 meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. And this guy was insane over this woman, flat out insane. In between this barrage of meetings he took me to that weekend, he would throw me in the passenger side of his car. He'd start driving and he'd start yelling. He wouldn't even look at the road. He had one of those AA radar cards that just made it to the next meeting, I guess. And he'd be yelling at me, "You got to go to meetings, you got to read the book, you got to get a sponsor. God damn her! You got to go to meetings, you got to read the book, damn her!" He was spitting on me. Now, I didn't know it, but I was getting a very early introduction to your typical AA relationship breakup is what I was getting. But I'm so very glad that that guy, that night, in his pain, was a guy in Alcoholics Anonymous who had done the work of Alcoholics Anonymous, and therefore, he understood that the solution to his pain was out of self, out of self, out of self. I'm so glad that that guy that night was not at home underneath his covers whining into his sponsor's answer machine. You guys know what an answer machine is, right? It's a box that used to sit on the kitchen counter. So glad he was not whining into his sponsor's answer. "Sponsor, where are you? Fix me! Give me a golden answer!" I'm so glad that this guy understood. Obviously, this guy's sponsor had sponsored him in a way of, "Yes, absolutely, I will be there to try to give you answers at any time in your life. Whenever I can, I'll do my best. But son, if you learn to work with others, you will have a lifetime of solutions at your fingertips." Right? And he completely understood that. By going to so many meetings in the same area of town with this guy that particular weekend, fresh out of treatment, I learned something really valuable about how we go to meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous, especially when we're new. See, I saw other people going to multiple meetings over that weekend. Now, I didn't see anybody else doing 18 meetings, just me and that guy. But I saw other people that went to 2 or 3 meetings over that weekend. And what I learned about how we go to meetings is, I'm going to correlate it to a football game. Now, a football team is out there on the field for one reason, and one reason only, to win the game. And how do they win that game? They huddle up, they make a plan, and they do one play. Then they huddle up again, they make another plan, and they do one play. That's exactly what we do here in Alcoholics Anonymous. And the game around here is one day without a drink, you're a big winner. And how do we do that one day? We run in here and we huddle up. And we go, remember, we're bodily and mentally different from our fellows. Break! And we go out there and we try a little of this, and we try a little of that. And we run right back in here. Maybe this is why the doctor told me not to go out and do this. Got back to my ship after that weekend, and one other sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous was waiting for me. His name was Bob W. He became my first sponsor, even before I asked him to sponsor me. I'm so grateful that the one other sober guy on my ship was an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm so glad the one other guy on my ship wasn't a guy who hadn't been to a meeting in 9 months and didn't know what to do with me, whether he was drinking or not. This guy was living a really valuable way of life. He was an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous. He had a sponsor. He had some commitments whenever he could. The ship had to go in and out, but he had commitments whenever the ship was in port. He was working steps, and now he's going to work with me. It's a really valuable way of life, an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because literally all he had to do to effectively help save my life was stick his hand out and say, come do what I'm doing. He didn't have to change a single thing about what he was doing on a daily basis in order to literally, effectively help save my life. Tell me, who else on this planet can do that? What type of education do we need to get? What type of appointment from who would put me in a position to reach out to the dying and say, come do what I'm doing, and be able to effectively help save their life? Only here. We forget that. It's easy to forget that, isn't it? It's real easy to be here after a few months, a few years, and go, really? Another meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. Oh my God, that old timer's telling that same story he told 2 weeks ago. I still remember the first time I mentioned that to my sponsor. I was sitting next to my sponsor. Now I was 25 years old. My sponsor was 23 years old, right, with 14 more months than me. And he had this really old sponsor. He's like 55 years old with like 28 years of sobriety. I remember he looked ancient. And we're sitting in the meeting, and this old timer started telling this little 3-minute story that he liked to tell. And he had just said it on Thursday, and it's now Sunday. And I whispered to my sponsor, he's telling that same story again. That's ridiculous. And my first sponsor didn't know enough to tell me to shut up, but he just kind of went, yeah, weird, huh? And my sponsor reaches past my sponsor and hits me in the back of the head. Bang! I'm like, what? And he goes, he's not talking to you today. He's talking to the new guy that apparently you are unaware is in the room. And I went, there's other people in AA. That literally was an awakening to me. Oh my God. It really was. I just remember going, phew. I also started to hear stuff around AA that was knocking my, again, just literally little things that other people don't get that impressed by. I remember the very first time I heard an old timer, or it actually sunk in. If you don't take the first drink, you can't get drunk. I remember the first time I heard that, I went, as if to look around, did you guys hear that? If I don't take the first drink, I stayed sober 4 days thinking about that. You could see me outside the AA clubhouse. If I don't take the first drink, I can't get drunk. If I don't take the first drink, I can't get drunk. Now, here's the warning. Don't try to impress your non-alcoholic loved ones with the information you're getting in AA. I called my mom and I said, Mom, you wouldn't believe what I heard in AA. She goes, what? I go, they said if I don't take the first drink, I can't get drunk. There was silence on the other end of the line. After about 10 seconds, she said, bunch of philosophers there in that AA program, huh? But But to me, it was life-changing news. It literally fundamentally changed the way I looked at life. But now here comes the million-dollar question. How do I not take that first drink if I've got this merciless obsession? The whole point of the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous are to completely rearrange my attitude and outlook upon life to where I quit thinking about what's best for me or what do I need to do, how is life treating me, and for me to make what my friend Earl H. says, the quantum leap of Alcoholics Anonymous, to where I am coming here for the sole purpose of being of service, and that my life is only about how can I be of service. And something fundamentally switched in me that it's hard to put to language. If we could truly paint that picture, man, I so wish I could pass that along. But I found out I had to have my own experience. And when you have your own experience at this, you know the question disappears. For many, many years now, and it's been incremental, I have quit asking, what am I supposed to be doing in this world? I have quit asking, what's my purpose? Who am I? Those questions have disappeared. I have found a way of life in here that has absolutely floored me, and has floored everybody that has known me long enough and has loved me, and just going, you are fun, as Carl Jung says, fundamental change at the cellular level. And Alcoholics Anonymous does that. The problem is, it's not very glamorous the way it does it to us. They kind of say, mop the floor. And you want to go, you obviously don't understand what's plaguing me here. And we go, yeah, we do. Mop the floor. Tiny little things like that. Right? Of course, there's deeper things and bigger parts and steps 4 through 9 that are absolutely going to affect that change. But there are amazing little silly things. The people that have commitments at this meeting, I got to tell you, it's my opinion that there are thousands of monks that sit up in monasteries contemplating the meaning of life. And they stay in that monastery. And you know what? The person who made the coffee at this meeting took a bigger spiritual action today than they did. Because, have you ever been at a meeting with no coffee? I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Taking that little step of where that little thing to make the community's life or another individual's life just that much better switches this little thing in me, just like that, and I don't even know it. And we see it years later. I'm running out of time and I'm running out of breath. If you say prayers for people, I need it. Been pretty scary with this having to do breathers and numerous specialists diagnosing stuff. Ruled out any COPD. They were kind of freaked out when I told them I smoked high-grade pot and crack cocaine for many years. They kind of go. Right? But they've ruled that out. It's just some goofy stuff. So anyway, if you pray for people, I need it just as much as anybody else. And it's always a privilege to come down here. I've been coming down here for years. I always appreciate Michael and Maureen having me come down here, and have a great night. Thanks, guys.